championship game, and what was the recovery process like after that?
You can ask me the day before I die, because I'm sure that I won't be recovered then either. That's very dramatic, that kind of thing, but I don't think you ever get over it. I really don't. Last week I was recruiting, and one day I was in Pennsylvania, and people were saying that's the greatest championship game ever. And I said, no, I thought 2005, 2009 was a lot better. You know, and then they'd say, I did have this question, how did you go from such an emotional high of Marcus making that shot to 4.7 seconds later, somebody else making one? And I said, well, I didn't have to, because I reacted immediately when he made the shot. My gosh, what a tough shot. But then I started coaching, so I never really got that high because I knew we still had to defend. But the low is, that's about as low as you can be. And unfortunately, it was even a little harder than 2003 because there we were down, I think we were down 18, and we cut it down to 3 and had the last 2 shots of the game to tie, but only one that was really a good shot. And the key worked, and I know where to block it, but we were down 3, and that would have just tied the game up. We still had to make the shot, but this one is even more difficult. And, you know, Marcus made such a tremendous play that, you know, we were just talking, that might have even surpassed Michael, or at least it was in the ballpark. It was the greatest shot in North Carolina basketball history. And I even got Steve to go back and look, comparing it to Chris's shot compared to Walter Davis, because everybody, when I first came back, I was talking to Coach Smith, and I said, you know, I thought over time Walter's shots really gotten farther and farther away. And I said, boy, I look at it, I'm not even sure it would be an NBA 3 now. He said, oh, no, it was, you know, maybe a step or 2 over the center line. I said, no, Coach. I said, I just saw it. He said, what do you mean you just saw it? And I said, it's on the opening of my TV show. And then he had a great question. He said, you watch your TV show? I said, no. I said, what do you think I watch a TV show? I've been here 13 years, and Bobby and Jones do a great job. I've never seen one of my TV shows. But I saw the opening, they showed me what they were putting, and it was Walter's shot. And so I got Steve to compare Chris's to Walter's, and Walter was a little farther to the right, but it was almost the same distance. I mean, it was a much better shot than I wanted to give up, and Walter's was barely an NBA 3, but everybody thinks he shot it from the center line kind of thing. But this one will be hard. You guys have heard me say so many times about how much I really enjoyed this team, and I even made the decision when we got to the Final Four that the only dominating thing in my thought was for those kids to win a national championship. It wasn't Roy Williams to win another national championship. It was those kids. It made me feel even okay about myself, because that was the only thought that I had, and didn't happen. Just didn't happen, but you have to congratulate them. I mean, they made a big-time play, and I will. I mean, Steve thinks I'm wacko for agreeing to do this, but one of the reasons I wanted to do one was to bring closure to it, but the other reason is we had a team meeting on Wednesday of last week, and didn't jump on him, but I disagreed with Isaiah because he took way too much responsibility. That shot was against North Carolina's team. When we graded the film, we gave Isaiah 2 good defenses during that one possession. But yet I read these comments about I should have gotten up there as my guy, and I mean it was North Carolina's team. But Isaiah, it was not his man, but he was willing to take that responsibility. But he did. If you watch it on tape, he challenged it a lot better than I thought he did. If you look at the still pictures, it's not as good a challenge, but if you watch it on tape, he challenged it. But the crazy thing is, on Friday, before the semifinals, the last thing we did was what we call must stop. Give the blue team the ball, and we play defense. We get a stop, we win the game. And on Sunday, practice number 100, the last practice of the season, the last thing we did on practice that day was must stop. And we didn't do it very well. The blue team scored. The blue team scored. blue team got a great shot, and I wouldn't even give them credit for that. So we had to go to 4 possessions before we actually got a stop. And to Jones, I didn't see you there. Sorry about the comment about the TV shows. But I do remember what I say, so. But we finally got a good stop on the 4th play. And if I went back through every practice, I mean, we did that a lot. And yet, we didn't get a stop. And I was proud of the team because somebody said, you know, gosh, they just celebrated too early. And I don't think we celebrated at all. Just like that, celebration was over because I got down in the huddle before I could even say anything. Somebody said, we just need one stop. One stop. And they almost started yelling at each other. And then Marcus did say, we get a stop now, we're going to win this game. And so they were focused, but we just give Villanova credit. The first option wasn't there, the second option wasn't there. They went to the third option, and the kid made a great shot. And I told Nate he's the only one that'll be able to hurt like I do, because if I had a brother, or if you guys were a brother, I'd like to beat you and beat you and beat you. But if you have a shot to win the game, it's okay, unless it's against me. And then I'd be doggone if I wanted you to make a sucker against me. And I don't care if you're my brother or not. Do it against everybody else. But but Isaiah really did some nice things on that play. We were trying to, the guy who's guarding inbounder was Bryce. We were trying to play him deep in the Kansas game. Not that you should know this, but they ran a play through it. Looked like who's the best quarterback in the NFL right now? I'll say Peyton because not you, boy. I can tell you. The worst long passer I've ever coached, Theo Pinson.
I see you. Wow.
No, tell the truth. I haven't had a press conference in a while. All right, now the truth is out. Thanks, big fella. But in the game against Kansas, they had the same situation. They threw it long, hit the guy straight, and he dunked it with no dribbles. And so we knew that that was a possibility. I even drew it up, said if they line up like this, they'll set a rear screen to throw long, so who's guarding the inbounds passer to play deep. And the last thing I said is everybody get involved. All 5 guys get involved. And so went out there, and sure enough, Bryce's guy was taking it out, and he's pointing here, and I said, yes. I said, if it goes that way, long pass, catch it, but then you got to come up. If it's not a long pass, you got to come up. And we just didn't get too crisp, as closely as I would have wanted. And you know what? We may have played great defense. He still may have made the shot, because it was as soon as he went up to shoot, I knew it was going in. I watched this follow through, and I never looked at the ball after that. I knew it was going in the hole. So it was a great moment for him. And but I don't want anybody thinking Isaiah screwed it up because he didn't do it. Again, on that play, we gave him 2 good defenses on that single play.
When we saw you at the welcome back, kind of from there, what was your schedule like? Was it recruiting immediately?
Well, in 05 when we won, you could go on Wednesday, and in 09 you could go on Wednesday. This year you couldn't go until Thursday. So Thursday at 12 noon I was out recruiting. And saw 3 kids on Thursday and 1 on Friday, and then you had to come back in. So I didn't go anywhere Saturday or Sunday. And this week we can go out again on Friday. I'll be out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we're back in on Thursday for some reason. And then we go back out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're not out again until July. And I did that because it helped. You know, it impressed Ty Lawson in 05, and impressed Harrison Barnes in 09. And the other thing is, if I want to go out after winning something, I'm dang sure going to go out after losing.
That day, that extra day that you had this year, what did you kind of take to do in those 24 hours? Were you rewatching game film or just decompressing? Or?
I did meet with the team on, as I said, Wednesday afternoon. Everybody's been trying to get over the cold. I've heard some of you guys coughing and sniffing too, but it hit everybody in our program. And so we got back here Tuesday afternoon. There was a nice group of people here. Went home, sat and stared out in the backyard for 3 or 4 hours. And then Wednesday came into work and tried to get it set up to where I was going on Thursday. And then met with the team.
Well, with the NCAA changing its rules with regard to the NBA process, has that changed, or will that change how you handle that process?
Oh, yeah. I've met yesterday, today, and tomorrow with all of our players. There'll be some of those players that I'm not asking them to give me a definitive answer now, and I want a definitive answer next week. I think that some of our guys will try to go to the combine. will declare and not hire an agent and see how they play in the combine, and I have no problem with that. If I were the father of some of our players, I would get them to do the same thing, but we're not going to have a release today that says Joe Blow's going, and then tomorrow Swing, and then the next day Henry's going, or anything like that. When we get through with all the interviews, we'll make one announcement about who's going to try it.
I'm sorry, you're saying you think maybe next week then that you're expecting them to tell you what they want to do?
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard you right.
Yeah.
In your mind, Roy, why would a kid not take advantage of that? I mean, it seems like something that everyone should do if they have the opportunity to do it.
I'd probably agree. I don't see any reason unless you I think it's, if you play 2 minutes a game, I don't think it's real necessary to do that. But if you were a good college player, why would you not? I can remember some guys who, in the old days, they did have a senior event. I even coached it for the NBA one year down in Orlando, 91 or 92. And they brought all the seniors in and had 4 college coaches. We coached for 4 days. We won the thing. I remember one year there was a guy that nobody thought would even be drafted. I'm not going to give you his name, but he ended up being drafted in the top half of the draft and made a lot of money. He made every daggum shot for 3 days, and they forgot about 4 years. But he made a lot of money.
You talked months ago about that new rule being better maybe for the long term. Is it tougher on coaches now in this part where more guys, you're maybe unsure who?
I don't think so, but I've been what I think was the worst, when it was 08, I guess. I mean, when they didn't have to tell you until June 15th. I think it was June 15th that you could withdraw. People blamed me for moving it up so early. I was in the meeting, and I spoke up. I said, I don't know what date is the magic date, but it ain't June 15th. In football, they get 4 days to make their decision. We gave basketball 3 months. I thought that was way too much, but and then we moved the meeting up to the date up to some day before, after the Final Four or the signing period or something. I don't even know what it was, but I think this should be better, especially if the NBA does what they say they're going to do. If they will really be straightforward and honest with the kids and say, you'll probably be top 30, you'll be top 60 or whatever. Because in the past, and I've had some players that say, this is not a good decision. Your last and second round are not going to be drafted, but agents got to the parents and said, no, we can move them up into the first round. So they don't want to, good people. They hear one thing and you hear what like everything, you hear what you want to hear. But if the NBA says it, and if they'll be truthful, I think it'll be great. I don't see any problems with it whatsoever. I've never been against guys going. I just don't want guys to go that'll be first round pick where they got guaranteed money. And that to me is even more important now when it's only a 2-year deal. Let's say you go to the Golden State Warriors and it's only a 2-year deal and they don't need you. I mean, I've had an NBA team took one of my players one time and said, we don't want anybody, but we had to take somebody. They didn't even want a draft pick. And so Golden State, if you go to Golden State and they've got a very good team and you don't get a chance to play for 2 years, they may decide you're not good enough. And so to me, you should go to have some guaranteed money. I don't think anybody should go not really feeling strongly that they're going to be a first round pick.
Is this what you would consider ideal now, or would you still like to see some
I
tweaks?
think we've got to get through it. We've got to see what the NBA does. And they've got to be truthful. They may say, oh, no, top 60, and then somebody may be telling, well, we said top 60, but I really think we could take you with 21. If it comes into those games and stuff like that, we haven't helped us. But I really think the NBA is very serious about it and wanting the right thing. And all of us are looking for something that's impossible, because there's not a perfect rule. I'm not going to sit up here and say that LeBron made a bad decision. That's silly. But there's a lot of guys, and I've coached some of them that, the one that's always favored, Corleone Young, was Kansas. He was top 5 high school player in the country. He won the NBA, he was a second-round pick, and he was a wonderful kid. I really liked him. And I think he played 3 minutes in the NBA or something crazy like that. D'Angelo Collins from LA was a first-round pick. There was a kid from Houston, that foreign name that was really good. And those guys, there's a lot more of those guys than there are LeBrons. So there's never a perfect answer for everybody. And so we're looking for something that is better.
Assuming that everyone who can come back does come back, how good do you feel about the makeup of your nucleus going forward next season?
The reason I'm hesitating because it's the first time I thought about it. Because that's not my thought process. I'm trying to advise people, you should do this, or you should do that, or you should do this. So if you're saying if everybody comes back, I'd feel good. You know, because I think that we have some guys who took a step forward this year. We have 3 freshmen that are not going to be Bryce and Marcus and Yoel. But over time, they've got a chance to be very good players, but they won't be able to do the first game of their freshman year. I don't see any one of those guys get 39 and 23, you know, that kind of thing. But I would feel good about it.
Joel Berry's foot, I guess a foot sprain when he came back. Was there anything else beyond that, or was he okay otherwise?
He's okay. I think we decided, and 3:30 today, you catch me after my meeting with him at 3:30. So I'll find out if he walks in with 1 boot or 2 basketball shoes.
Have you spoken with Harrison or James Michael about tomorrow and the Golden State Warriors, James?
No.
Any thoughts on that record?
It's
and your players there?
unbelievable, but guys, I've been crying. You think I'm gonna call some people about winning 73 freaking games? I wanted 4.7 seconds to play over again. It's an unbelievable thing. I love Steve Kerr's comments. I think Steve's handling it really, really well. And I got a text message from James Michael, I guess Friday. He was taking Harrison to Rendezvous, my favorite rib place in the world. They were in Memphis. And I took James Michael's team there and never taken Harrison. So needless to say, I care about what they're doing, but I don't think they need to hear anything from me right now.
Well, with Joel, assuming he comes back, the way he sort of emerged over the season, being healthy and kind of showing what he can do, both as a point guard and kind of as a leader, whether through example or otherwise, does that change in your mind the amount of responsibility you want to give him next year, maybe even away from the court?
You know, one of my things I'm going to talk to him about today is that when it gets to the meeting that I have, which is not this one, where we talk about the 3 things that I want you to work on. I said, today I'm going to tell him I want you to think about these a lot. And before we have that other meeting, because I want to hear yours first. And I am going to challenge him in a couple of areas that might surprise him. But I want to see what he has to say when we get, because I was really pleased with Joel's year. I think I said that he was our most consistent player, and I think he was. You know, somebody could go look at records and stats and probably have a different thought and maybe disagree with me, but from my opinion, just the way I felt, I thought he was our most consistent player and really took a giant step forward.
You talked about the big picture transfer issue at Houston. I think mentioned 8 transfers in many years. Why do you think you guys have had more success in maybe not having that be an issue with guys leaving?
Well, I don't know if I say that we'll have 3 guys leave tomorrow. I think I'm right. You know, it depends. I had 2 kids who I said you're never going to play, but if you want to be part of a great program, come on. But if you want to go somewhere and play, you should go there. They said, no, we want to be part of the program in Kansas. They came and they later decided playing wasn't more important to them, and they both went and played at Washburn. But I think, I can't remember if I'm leaving them out or whatever, but I know I've had 4 since we came here, 13 years. And had 1 player leave at Kansas who I told had to leave. We had 1 other kid, Marlon London, that transferred to DePaul, and he's from Chicago. And Ben Davis left and tried to come back 3 times, but I eventually helped him get to Arizona, got him to JUCO in Kansas, and then to Arizona when he wanted to come back to Kansas again. So I think 8 is right, you know, but I can't remember if it's including those 2 kids that I told them you can come, but it's going to be awfully difficult. But why we've had that success, I think it speaks a great deal about Kansas and about North Carolina as a school too, that they enjoy where they are in school. And it's hard now because the culture, everybody around players, their families some, but even more so the people around them, it's you know, you have to be satisfaction immediately, and it's got to be results immediately. Every recruit I say, hey, if it's the best thing for you to leave after your freshman year, I'll say fine. But I want you to look at your career over a 4-year span. I'd like for you to look at it from your senior year backwards, which nobody does. But nowadays, you know, everybody wants immediate satisfaction, and it's really hard. Somebody said they're going to be there's 900 guys. It was 700 last year. I recall somebody said it was maybe as many as 900 this year. And initially, there were some rules made because they thought coaches were responsible. We're not responsible for keeping them or let them go. I'm just being honest with you. They make decisions to leave because they don't like the situation. I've never run a player off in my life, never even came close. I wrote one letter to a parent saying if he doesn't get straightened out academically, I'm not going to renew his scholarship. And that's the closest thing I've ever come. And most of my friends in coaching has never run anybody off. But immediate satisfaction, instant satisfaction that you're looking for now, I think is what causes it. And I really do. I believe people love the Kansas basketball and the appreciation, the passion that people had for it. And I think the University of North Carolina is part of the reason most of our kids have stayed around too.
Coach, even though the loss is still fresh, how would you, big picture wise, best describe the entire season?
Oh, you know, that's another thing I usually try to think about during the summer when I'm on a plane and try to say what I want to do better the next year. I love this team. I love this team. When I look back on it, I'll think of that. I'll also think about, and I may have said this at a press conference, not where I was talking about the green room or dictating questions that you guys were asking or anything like that. In fact, I was sort of insulted on one of those questions about how I dictate, because we leave most of my press conference because we've deteriorated so much we're laughing and stuff. But, it's this team, they will talk for the rest of their lives about making it to the Final Four in 2016. And I still talk about us making it to the Final Four in '81. Kansas guys, the old guys that come back, talk about making the Final Four in '71, '74. My teams at Kansas talk about the '91 Final Four team, the '93 Final Four team, 2002, 2003. We didn't win any of those. So it'll be some satisfaction because in my conversations, I think I've had 7 players in so far. I said, I was truthful to you when I said every step it gets to be more fun, more exciting, more fun, more exciting. And every one of them said, Coach, this is the most fun I've ever had playing basketball. Now, I haven't had all of them. Maybe they'll come in and say, gosh, 3 more weeks of you was more than I could stand, that kind of thing. But I think they'll look back on it that way, and I'll look back on it over that it was really something.
Roy, you were asked a lot in Houston about your future and retirement and this and that. Do you feel the need to crystallize your future plans in any way and say, or were you surprised by that? What was the reaction?
No, I don't understand it because I answered it 27 times.
Right.
I really have. I've answered it from you 5 times. I went back and